Okay, this video we're going to talk about what do we need to do next after we've found our question. We've done, the last video we talked about a little bit about refining our topic so that we were getting a little bit more information about what we wanted to know about, and we looked at a little bit of the literature, as you can see here. So the other thing that I need to do when I build my table, or I go into the journal, when I go in here, is I also need to have a think about how it reflects upon how the research question will help me solve my clinical problem. So let's have a think about that. So I want to know about the experience of midwives in delivering a baby. So how will this help me understand that? Well, this topic actually came from discussing this with a friend. So this was a conversation that I had with someone I know who's a midwife, and this is where that topic came from. But so will this answer that question? Well, I think so. How do I reflect upon that? Well, I'm going to write a reflection in that section of the and the tables here. Okay, and so you've got some assistance in 1.7 and also section 5 of the, let me go down into the, so you're being asked to go to 1.7 to start with. Okay, and so this is about developing a research question. So there are two YouTube videos. The second one I've linked rather than embedded because it comes from a series in nursing research, and it's very good. It's a long video, but please choose chapter 2, and I think that'll be one that you can just come in and out of it and go and look at the slides and listen to what she says about that. Okay, so what I want you to think about is how will we know what the literature and how we're going to go about doing it. Now, the second week we're being asked to do the literature, but you might do a bit of your, that's not as easy to see as this one. Sorry, you might do part of your methodology and literature review together, basically writing your literature review around the type of methodology that you would be likely to choose to answer this question. Now, in the case of answering this question, how will I know how to answer it? Well, I've put here just below the research question major characteristics of qualitative and quantitative research, and you will find this is in research design section in the module 4. There'll be more information. So there's quantitative and qualitative design. So you'll see this graphic again. Okay, now what you can do is come down to the types of research design. I'm looking for experience. So I'm going to look down here and look, oh wow, look, phenomenology. That's going to give me the study of lived experiences, which would match my question. I want the experience, don't I? So I need to understand a bit about phenomenology. So while we're not doing methodology this week, we do need to go off and have a little bit of understanding. So when we read the literature that we've got through Google Scholar or through the library, so into the library and your journal databases, you will want to be having an idea about how these studies are written, and this is where you need to start reading about methodology even before you write that section of your assignment. Okay, so we've found that we've got lived experience here. Okay, well, we're just going to pop that in here. So we need to, we're sort of thinking we might use lived experience. And what was that big word? Phenomenology. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with this one. Okay, so next week, I've got to know what this is and be able to write a small section so that we can do this justification and be able to discuss how my methodology will help. But this week, I'm going to be doing a literature review. So there's going to be, so I need a little bit, I need some of these. I need some of this to help me, but I also need this for this week. So I'm going to go back in here and we need to go back and we need to go back to the modules. And so we're going to go back to the learning modules. We're going to look at the different types of literature review. Okay, this is on critiquing research. Here are the different types of literature reviews, and we're going to go through this to help us understand how to do a literature review. Okay? And we're going to read these to help us understand what we need to know. And then there's information here on how to do a literature review. Okay, because you're sort of doing a little miniature literature review. Okay, so, and there's some guides in which you can, and there's a video down here about how to write that. So after you've read all those resources, you're going to come back in here and you know how to do it. So you sort of need to start, well, what are the issues in the area? Well, we're going to find that out by looking in here. So the sort of stress that they experience. Now, here's one from the father's, actually we'll go in there, father's experience. And this is by some people from Sweden, and they're looking to describe the experiences of a premature infants from the father's perspective. So this is pretty similar in the type of method that we'll be using. And they've done something, this gives us some ideas, doesn't it? So we've got narrative interviews, so I need to work out what that means. So we're going to just copy that across. So narrative interviews. And I need to go and find out what that is. Okay? And I also noticed they had something called thematic analysis in that. I noticed down here that thematic content analysis. Okay, so we need to go and find out what that is as well. And that'll be in a later video about what all this is. So we need to read up on all that. But this video, this paper here, this would be one we're going to read to understand how you might proceed with this sort of research. Okay, and it's sort of similar, except this will be from the father's perspective, and we want to look at whether midwives are affected by preterm babies, because often they, particularly in case management, develop a relationship with the mother, particularly if they've been seeing her for 7 or 8 months or 6 months, and that becomes distressing if the baby was to be born early or something, an adverse outcome happened to the baby. So we've looked at all that. We've now got our literature. We're going to look at we're going to look at experience. I've put into this one, which I'll show you now. What is the experience for midwives in delivering a preterm baby? So why don't we put in, it's not picked up anything, which is sort of showing us that there's not much around that's really recent, or that in fact we can't find much on this. Okay, so here's one that's the impact of the birth experience first time mothers. So we're going to read these even though they're not exactly what we want. Okay, So we're going to keep on reading these and develop a literature review. And how we might do that is that we might also, we need to go into CINAHL here. So we're going to look at all of our options for helping us write this literature review. And we're going to put premature baby. And let's see what we can find. Okay, so here's something. It might have some interesting things in it. So we'll open that. Now this is a withdrawal of care, which means it's where care is withdrawn from a baby who they think is not going to make it and probably subsequently goes on and passes away. So this first one that we've got here, we're going to have a look at. Alright, so this will give us some ideas. So we're going to read through these and we're going to develop our thesis. I can't get it. So there we go. So we already know what our question is. We want to know what the experience for midwives in delivering a preterm baby. So maybe we need to understand a bit about midwives and their stress. So we might do another search looking at midwives and their stress. Oh, that hasn't helped us enormously. Nope, can't get any of those. Righto. So that tells you that there's not much in this area. That's probably good. So this is an essay presented on the essence of being a midwife. Caring for a premature baby in Cambodia. So this would be, if we could have got this, this would have been a very interesting paper to read. What that says to us is there is an enormous amount about. So maybe we put in premature labour and see if anything comes up there. So we can go and have a look at all of these ones, but whether they would be useful for us. Okay, the next video will move on with how to put that together.